Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's Grace, aka Loving Body by Grace, and I'm super excited to have you back. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we're going to get straight onto the video. So today I thought I would take this opportunity to talk about how I found out I have PCOS. So PCOS, as I've mentioned on my Instagram, is a common hormonal disorder that affects many women, like 1 in 10 women almost. I like talking about it because it breaks the stigma on it a little bit. Like I feel talking about my problems can make me seem like I'm whining or I'm complaining, and I don't want it to feel like that because I love my body and I love what it does for me, and I'm not complaining about it whatsoever. But there are some challenges that come with PCOS that I face every day. So I just wanted to talk about some of those. That's basically what this section will be about. I was 12 when I got my first menstrual cycle, and straight off the bat it wasn't regular. I was only getting my period every 6 to 8 months sometimes. Like the shortest span between periods I had was 3 months and the longest span was 8 months. This went on for about 4 years, and I didn't think much of it because at the time I was a dancer. It can be common for dancers and gymnasts to get their periods late or get them irregularly because we do put our bodies through a lot of, I'm not going to say strain because it's not strain, we work hard. Our bodies are moving a lot and they're doing things, like we're training our bodies in different ways. So we didn't think too much of it. Me and my mum just sort of put it down to my hormones were still balancing itself out. When I turned 16 is when it started to go downhill a little bit. I was just sitting at the dining room table one day, drinking a smoothie, doing my maths homework, and I felt this, it was like sharp pain in my abdomen, and it started in one spot and then just spread across my whole abdomen. So I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? Because obviously I've never had anything like this before, and it was scary. I was walking around the house trying to figure out what it was. I came back to my room, sat on the floor. I honestly just had to like curl up in a little ball. It was so painful. My mom took one look at me. I was pale in the face, and I don't complain about pain that often. I'm just that person that's like, have a Panadol, you'll be fine. So when my mom saw me, she was like, we're going to the hospital right now. And I was like, what? Like, we are not people that go to the hospital. This is my first time ever even going to a hospital. I had been there for family members who had been in hospital, but it was pretty new for me. We hop in the car and head to the hospital because we didn't feel like we needed to get an ambulance. We get in the car. My mum grabs a vomit bowl just in case. And boy, I am glad she did, because we are honestly in the car less than 5 minutes and I start projectile vomiting. The pain is so bad. It's like vomit inducing pain. By the time I get there, I've got a bowl full of vomit. They give me a vomit bag and I got admitted pretty much straight away. By the time I got there, I was in tears. I obviously had just been vomiting and they wanted to get to the bottom of it. They assessed me and then decided that it was best for me to have some morphine. So they put me on morphine, and that was a different experience. But that's another story. We were in the hospital for about, I would say, maybe 5 hours. They had a couple of theories about what it could be. They looked into appendicitis and then they thought it wasn't that. So just for some context, I was in Busselton Hospital at this time and they sent me to Bunbury Hospital, which is about 40 minutes away. They popped me in an ambulance and then the ambulance took me there. It all went from 0 to 100 really quickly. They kept me overnight. The fear was, where the pain was, that I had an issue with my ovary, which it did end up being. They were scared that it was ovarian torsion. So sometimes the ovary can twist, it can untwist itself, but often if you get ovarian torsion, you can end up losing the ovary. So that's what they were mainly concerned about, because like I said, I was 16 at the time. They really did not want to have to take one of my ovaries out. That was the last thing they wanted to do. They kept me overnight, put an IV in and prepped me for surgery just in case I did have ovarian torsion. And I went for a scan the next day and they saw some fluid in my pelvis. So that was from a very large cyst on one of my ovaries, and that is what caused the pain. So they luckily ruled out ovarian torsion. Man, it was scary because I had never had that pain before. You know when you have a pain and it makes it easier having the pain because you know what it is, you know why you're having the pain? It was not like that. I was so scared and I could see it in my mum's face too. She had no idea what was going on and she's pretty brave, but she looked terrified. So when they found out it was a cyst on my ovary, they told me that I most likely have cystic problems with my ovaries. So either polycystic ovaries or polycystic ovarian syndrome. So they put me on the pill because that's what you can do to get a regular period. That's what most doctors tell you to do. I get discharged from hospital, I go home, and then it is a long year to diagnosis. I had many of the symptoms of polycystic ovarian syndrome. I had fast hair growth, acne, irregular periods, weight gain. So there was a strong chance that I had it. So right now I was on the pill. I hadn't had my official diagnosis, and many blood tests and a few scans later, both external and internal ultrasounds, which again, I was 17 the first time I had an internal ultrasound. Can be pretty confronting. So finally, after my second internal ultrasound, I was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome. Polycystic ovarian syndrome compared to polycystic ovaries. Polycystic ovarian syndrome is a chronic condition. It's something the doctors say that you can't get rid of it completely. It can be managed with a healthy and active lifestyle and doing certain things with your eating, which is what I'm now looking into, because right now, I'm going to be honest, I'm still on the pill. I think I want to start taking the steps to come off it because I want to get back in touch with my body. Like, I want my body to just be able to restore itself, which is something, I'm going to be honest, doctors never even told me. The reason I have come to these conclusions is by doing my own research. It's still a very misunderstood topic. Doctors don't always have answers about why these things are happening or what we as women with PCOS can do to manage it naturally. They often just give us medication. So two main medications that women with PCOS get is diaformin, which is an insulin resistant medication, and then the contraceptive pill, which assists in regulating the hormones. What I am finding hard about the pill now is I was on the same pill from age 16 to 20. And at the beginning of this year, so just as I turned 20, it stopped working. I was taking my pill every day and I was getting spotting, which is not supposed to happen if you're taking it at the same time consistently every day. So my doctor put me on a stronger dosage. And it has been working, but I can't help but think to myself, what happens in 4 years when my body gets used to this pill and then I have to go on a stronger dosage? Like, I'm on probably middle dosage now and the next one is the highest. What happens when my body gets used to the highest dosage of the pill? Do I then just come off and then I go into serious hormonal withdrawal? Feels odd as a woman because your body is made to do certain things. And when your body isn't doing what it's made to do, it can be pretty challenging emotionally because your reproductive system is made to produce eggs and be able to have children. And when I first got diagnosed, I got told that it's a pretty low possibility. They told me that I would almost certainly need fertility assistance, and hearing that as a 16-year-old is pretty difficult. But now that I've started getting into my own research, I know that's not the case. The fact that doctors don't know enough about it and they're telling young girls that they may not be able to have kids. I got diagnosed quite young. Most people I've talked to that have PCOS didn't get diagnosed until they were my age now. So I'm 4 years diagnosed now, or three or 4 years. My first incident was 4 years ago. And it feels silly. It feels silly to cry about this, but I don't know. When your body's not doing what it's supposed to, what it's born to do, you can't help but feel a little bit broken. So, yeah. And I'm really just trying, I'm really just trying to give the realest version of myself to you guys as I can, because saying stuff like this can help break the stigma. It's come a long way in the past 4 years. When I first got diagnosed, there was no resources on it. So, any young girls who are pushing these feelings down, like I did for a long time, it's okay. It can be scary when someone tells you you have something that you don't know anything about. It's something you can work through. Honestly, the mental side of PCOS has definitely been more challenging for me than the physical side, because as I've gotten older, I know there are things I value more than being super skinny and having perfect skin, but the mentally well side of it I struggle with often, and I'm starting to understand that that's okay. I'm gonna sound so cheesy, but it's okay to not be okay sometimes. What's important is that you have the strategies to deal with it and you know your own worth, because when you don't, that's when you're really in trouble. But it's a long process. It's a long process to being healthy, both physically and mentally. So really just keep working to better yourself, because everyone is beautiful in their own way. And I preach it, but I don't always follow it, but I'm doing my best. I'm working on it every day to love myself more. So, yeah. Sometimes I get a bit off track when I'm talking about these things, and then I forget sort of where I was going. The point of telling you guys this, it can be hard dealing with these things sometimes. And if me saying this can help one person, then I'm happy, because I know that it was something that was really hard for me. There are some other women's health issues that I'm now looking into, because I have caught some other symptoms that are a little bit alarming. And I've talked to a couple of physicians, but I went to one doctor who said their specialization was in women's health, with some pretty strong symptoms of another women's fertility issue. And she told me to take cold and flu for 2 weeks. So finding a doctor or a naturopath or a physician that works well for you is important to helping you feel supported and helping you feel safe, because if you don't feel like you're getting listened to, then really you're going to go around in circles. So find people that support you and that assist with your process, because those are the people that you want around you and with you. These processes can be long. It can be a long road to diagnosis and a long road to discovering how to live with it healthily and happily. I promise it'll get better, and keep on loving yourself and keep on working on yourself, because that's really all you can do. You can only control what you can do. Yeah, that's about all I have to say. So that's all for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching and listening. If you liked it, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Leave a comment of what you want to see from me in the future, and make sure you hit that subscribe button. Signing off.